Reawakening. Welcome again to Reawakening, the dream interpretation and life coaching podcast with Yvonne Ryba. I'm your host, Chris Mann, and this month Yvonne goes back in her journals and revisits one of her dreams containing an animal. Not just any animal, but her animal totem. That's a spiritually significant animal that represents a greater part of the dreamer. Intrigued? Well, stick around and hear this dream from Yvonne, then check out her website for more information at YvonneRyba.com. That's YvonneRyba.com. But for now, let's go back into the Dream Vault with Yvonne. Hi again, Yvonne. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Chris.
Fantastic. Well, we're getting into autumn now and all the lovely holidays coming up. Have you had a chance to go back in your dream vault and find a good one?
Oh, yes. And this is one from many years ago, the early 90s.
Oh, great.
And I was living in St. George in Utah, a beautiful place. It's right on the state line between Arizona and Utah. And then there's only a very short piece of Arizona before you're into Nevada in the desert.
Ooh.
And you're 2 hours from Las Vegas.
I'll have to do that the next time I go to Vegas. That sounds
fun. Yes, it's a beautiful place. And you go through the river, the Virgin River Gorge, and you see St. George nestled in the valley, and the purple and gray and white-capped mountains around it, which are all volcanoes at some point in time. It's a very beautiful place. And we were there for about 4 years or so.
And so you have a dream from that era of your life.
Yes, I do. It's about animal totems. And I was just beginning to realize that when animals appear in dreams, of course I'd read about animals appearing in dreams and that you took on the quality of the animal and so on. But I didn't realize that we tend to have these things forever, that animals that have been appearing in my dreams for a long time and I hadn't paid any attention to them had meant something until one day my subconscious, I suppose, decided to kick me in the butt and give me a dream to explain it.
Okay, and you say totems.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Native American?
Yes, it's the Native Americans. We hear about they called themselves after an animal that they identified with. Or that their parents identified with, but later on, when they got to be of age, they could choose their name. And if they went out and had a vision quest and killed something, killed a deer or a bear or whatever it was, they could take on that name if they felt it identified with them. They felt they were being given that name by, the Great Spirit.
Right.
So I'll tell you a little bit. Before I had this particular dream, I'd had several dreams where bears had appeared. But they were usually either asleep or, in one case, they were in a cage. Mm-hmm. And I just went past them in a dream about something else and saw these bears asleep and thought, oh, they're asleep. I wonder what'll happen if they wake up and they're being caged. So they're dangerous.
Right.
So that was my thought in that. And I didn't think too much of why these bears were showing up till I had this particular dream. So I am walking down a dusty country road. And in the distance, I see a small cottage. It's a very pretty little cottage with roses growing up the front of it and all that kind of thing. And swimming around in the air is a dolphin, just as if it was in the water.
In the air?
Swimming in the air, swimming round and round this cottage. And I thought, oh, my friend Lynn lives in there. Well, the dolphin was Lynn's thing. She had dolphins all over the place. Lynn is a water baby, really. She likes to dive. She takes underwater photographs. I mean, she had lots of pictures of dolphins that she'd taken in her place. And so the dolphin, I identified with her. So I just thought, well, she's asleep. The dolphin's looking after her. She's asleep. And I just kept on walking. And the dust around my feet thickened. And I looked down to my right, and I saw this ball of dust and kind of looking sort of furry thing at my feet. And I thought, oh, it's going to be a dog. Mm-hmm. It's growing into a dog, but it grew bigger and bigger and bigger, much bigger than a dog. And then I saw it was a bear. And then it rose up from its forefeet onto its hind legs, and it was a grizzly, and it was huge. You know how big those things are when they stand up.
Yeah, towering.
Well, I was not scared at all in the dream. it walked with me, and I said to myself, wow, nobody is going to mess with me when I've got this beside me. And then I woke up. And when I woke up, I thought, oh, I get it. All these dreams about bears that, I keep having, these funny little incidents of bears, they are trying to tell me that there's a part of me represented by this bear, all right, needs to be let out of the cage, not to be vicious or violent, but to be strong, and to go out there and to do my thing without fear, because my life is metaphysical, but I was living in a Mormon town where I was hesitant about talking about what I felt.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing is that I discovered that Mormons do put a lot of influence, if you like. They believe that dreams do mean things.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, they do. There are dreams in the Bible.
Sure.
They themselves believe that they are given revelations in dreams, especially the leaders of the Mormon religion put a lot of influence on that. So, strangely enough, before I tell you about the dream, from that I talked about it to other people, and I actually was interviewed on television about dreams a couple of times. I talked about dreams and what they meant, and I did articles for the local paper about dreams in the Bible and how you could look at your own dreams and so on. So, it was absolutely fulfilling that this dream that said, let your strength out and don't be frightened and go forth and do your thing, was also very influential and helpful to me to do this. So what did this dream tell me? Well, first it showed me that my friend's animal totem was the dolphin, which I pretty well had clued in on.
Sure.
That she was very influenced by the water. And she has, if you want to know, she has an astrology sign that it's water. She's a Scorpio. And she does do underwater diving, underwater photography, and so I'm very interested in the ocean. And the dolphin, of course, is the most beautiful animal and very intelligent. And she identified with it. And it's graceful. She has a very graceful way with her. And her cottage would be perfect because she does have a bit of an English thing around her. She does like that kind of thing, even though she is a Texan. So that set me up for revealing to me what I was needing to do.
Yes.
So when this dust, and it's strange that it would be dust, from dust to dust, we come from dust, we go to it.
Right.
Everything is created from this, whatever you want to call it, celestial dust, I suppose.
Right.
This dust became the bear. And then when it reared up and showed me how strong it was and how imposing and how I don't need to be frightened. I just need to let that part of me go out there and do its thing because nothing can really hurt me.
So you weren't frightened by the bear?
No. I felt very protected by this bear.
So, okay.
It was like, what would you call it, a bodyguard or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Secret Service with the, the president and all the rest of it.
Sure.
Well, it felt a bit like that. It felt like, whoa, I've got, the big guns with me here.
Or Whitney Houston with Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I know, I saw that one too. Yeah.
Right. So it's like you saw the dolphin over your friend's house to let you know that this bear had significance for you in the same way. And the totem thing, I always thought a totem was like a stack of animals. What's the significance of the word totem if you're referring to just one animal?
Well, the totem pole, all right, has all of the animals on it.
Okay.
And it might represent the animals of, I don't know, the leaders of the tribe or whatever you want to call them. And so I just know for me it was saying this is going to be part of you.
Yes.
When you look at this pole and all the different figures that are on it, they represent, like I said, I think, the different qualities of the leadership of that tribe. It's a sacred object or a symbol that could be for a family or a clan or whatever, but in my case, it was for me. It just was for me. It didn't have to be for the group of us. Everybody has different qualities. I have a friend who once told me that he had seen a wolf. To him, it seemed to be real, that it was a dream, but it was so real to him. This wolf came down the slope. He was sleeping by a grassy slope, and he was in a house, but the window overlooked this lovely sloping hillside. And the wolf came down and leaped through the window and into him.
Oh, wow.
And in his very clear vision kind of dream, he felt this wolf into him, and he felt that this was telling him that he had the strength of the wolf. Of course, wolves are very family-orientated, and they hang together. They're very supportive. And he had got a very supportive family. A lot of us don't have that, but he does. And so on. It was very interesting when he told me about it.
And it's also interesting that we're talking wolves now, since I mentioned Kevin Costner dances with wolves. So maybe...
Yeah. That might have put it in my head, yes.
Right. That was a Native American great epic. Well, that's really cool, because I think a lot of times if people have a dream and this, whatever it is, it's an eagle, it's a rabbit, a dog, keeps appearing, they just think that it's atmosphere. But there are times when you really need to pay attention if this is a recurring element.
Absolutely.
It may be saying something about yourself.
Absolutely. That's what it's about. And there are more than, totems are not just for Native Americans, although we identify with that, of course, but they go back a long, long way. It's all symbolism, and you can see that in the artwork of ancient Chinese and so on, and other ancient cultures, that this is not like just a new thing or something that one little group of people,
right,
the Native Americans, came up with. It is something within us because it appears in our dreams. These are universal. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
These are universal symbols, like the ocean. Everybody dreams about the ocean. It represents life.
Yes.
And it can also be spiritual life, but it's our lives.
Everlasting life.
And how we're coping. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And animals are the same, because we all know about animals, even if we don't like animals. It
That's
doesn't
right.
mean that they won't show up as a symbol of something in our lives.
That's right. So pay attention, see what animal totem you may be.
Yeah.
And I like that. It gives people a reason to sort of pause and think about something that they may just be dismissing, a recurring dream.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it. Well, Yvonne, it's always enlightening to chat with you, and I look forward to doing that as we approach Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes, right. Oh, we're going to be in for it now. We've got Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything that goes with it coming up.
Well, pay attention to your dreams, and we'll pay attention more to Yvonne next time. Thank you, Yvonne.
My pleasure, dear. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Reawakening with Chris Mann and Yvonne Ryba is a Rising Action Media production. Copyright 2014 by Chris Mann.